I'm Corey Quinn.
Hi, I'm Mike Julian.
And we have something to talk about today. We've raised a pile of money and we're building a product. How do we get here, Mike?
I'm not really sure, honestly. In 2022, we tried to build this product. As many of you may recall, and if you haven't, we wrote a great blog post about it. We tried to build a product, failed miserably, shut it down.
Oh, abject failure. Turns out that if you just assume you know what customers want and don't talk to them, you're going to go somewhere, but not where you wanted to go.
It's awful. So we decided like, hey, let's actually do this properly. And we realized in early 2024 that we had actually hit on something pretty big. And now we've raised some money to start building it even more.
With participation from Uncorked and HeavyBit, which much appreciation to them. Thanks for playing that game with us. We'll see where it leads.
Thanks for the money.
And I'd say that the key revelation that we had that changed everything was that this isn't an optimization problem.
So many people start looking at a cloud bill and they think, wow, this thing's expensive. Wouldn't it be nice if it was smaller? And I think what you and I both realized is that it doesn't really matter. Like, does it actually matter that the bill's that big?
It's the outgrowth of my old complaint about all these tools that say, oh, you were spending more this month with a frowny face on it, or it's in red. Hey, you're not spending nearly as much. We're going to make that green and put a happy face on it. You don't have the context to say whether that's good or bad. You're putting an inherent value judgment on something you're not qualified to judge.
Yeah, like who cares if you're spending $1 million if you're making 100 million?
Right. The cloud is expensive is not the story. That is not how serious entities think about this. Sometimes they think they do, but it takes a little bit of time for them to get there.
People who yelled the loudest about cloud being expensive are the ones spending $20,000 a month.
Partially that, and the other folks yelling about cloud being expensive are trying to sell you something for your data center.
Yeah, that too. What did we discover? Like, why don't you talk about that? Like, where do you think the real problems actually are that we're trying to approach?
The problem is not that it's expensive. The problem is that it's complex. And that complexity means that it becomes very difficult to start predicting that in any meaningful way. There are a bunch of things out there that claim to be able to do prediction, but it's a straight linear regression off of something that, look at Cost Explorer. Some of the AWS tools themselves can start to do predictions, but it's just based upon past activity. It's the same difference between having accountants versus the FP&A people in a company. Accountants know what happened previously and maybe a little bit of planning as far as accounts receivable go. The FP&A folks talk to folks within your organization. They come up with, here's what the rest of the company is planning on doing from a strategic point of view. Here's what we're going to do to bake that into our assumptions and our forecasts. And suddenly you get something that's a lot more A, holistic, and thus B, accurate.
This is probably a really great segue to talk about what it is that we're actually building.
Oh, we actually do have to build something now? We have to tell great stories about it and look adorable while doing it?
We can't just talk about it.
No, we're building Skyway. Skyway is more or less a tool that normalizes data for the entirety of your infrastructure estate. Today, cloud, soon beyond cloud.
Yeah, my favorite part about this is when we started seeing that it's not just AWS, it's not just GCP, it's not just Azure. Like, what about the Datadog bill? That's getting pretty complicated. What about Snowflake? That's getting pretty complicated. And the core here is that I and our customers don't actually care that the numbers are big. It's actually the complexity. We're at war with complexity, not cost.
Right, because how much is this going to cost next month? If you have a big number or a bigger number, it's not really a problem. The challenge is, of course, when you have no clue.
Right. Yeah.
It's going to cost what it's going to cost. Well, that is the grim reality of this, yes, but you sort of want to see the iceberg coming.
Yeah, exactly. So what we're working on building is a platform that takes all the lessons that FP&A has learned from forecasting an entire business and applying them to infrastructure. So like, what if deriving consumption from cost, we say, well, look, the cost of a thing is actually how much I'm consuming and what I'm paying for the thing, the rate, and then I have the cost. Enterprises negotiate their contracts, so those rates change all the time too. And the thing that actually drives your cost is your consumption. Let's model the consumption. When you have a personal budget, you do this bottoms-up forecast. Well, how much am I going to pay to Comcast for the internet? How much am I going to pay to AT&T for my cell phone? What am I going to pay for rent? This is a bottom-up forecast. You're building individual line items of your bill of what you expect to pay. But no one does this with cloud because it's too big, it's too complicated.
And the reality, this was staring us in the face when they began the corporate Macarena dance process of it's time to do a contract renegotiation because it's expiring or your spend is different now. And AWS would send out their demand plan of, which unlike its name is not a list of their demands, honestly, it'd be funnier if it were, but rather what is your usage going to look like? And the reality
and no one can couldn't answer the question.
Not only did they not know how to answer the question, they didn't know where to start.
Yeah.
Done correctly, this should be at their fingertips already because it's not just about the contract.
Right.
It's about understanding what your company is doing, where you are, where you're going, and that has so many downstream implications.
And this is really our core insight for the platform that we're building is it should be easy to do a bottoms-up forecast on a $400 million bill. It doesn't actually matter what the cost is, but that bill is complicated. There's a lot in it. And what about the other $100 million I'm spending on all the other SaaS I have? It should be easy to do a bottoms-up forecast and all that at a consumption level spread across every team that you have. That should be simple. Why isn't it?
And everything in this space that we look at, because we tried to find something that was doing this properly, but everything viewed this as, oh, it's an optimization problem. That's not a great business to find yourself in.
We could leave this one sort of open speculation. We actually looked at acquiring one of them because, like, who wants to build software? So spoiler, we didn't do that.
No, the challenge is as well, you look at these things and it's, oh, okay, we're going to look at your bill and we're going to pick a percentage off. At some point, the percentage gets high enough that the big question becomes, well, what were you doing before? But okay, you achieve those outcomes. Terrific. Great. Now, what have you done for me lately? Because it's hard to build a renewable business on top of, well, you saved me 40% in month 1 and 2, but you really haven't done any of that in month 8 or 9. What have you done for me lately?
This problem is actually one of predictability. This is a matter of reducing complexity, making things less chaotic, not necessarily about saving money. Is it nice if the bill's smaller? Sure. But like, that's not really the goal of any organization. Any organization is focused on growth, and reducing uncertainty is something that every company strives for. And that's what we're trying to solve, is reducing that uncertainty.
Early on, when you're still building and trying new things constantly on a new project or something completely greenfield, you don't know what you don't know. You're too immature for the luxury of certainty. But CloudSpan finds its level inherently where, okay, we're now serving X hundreds of thousands of users every month at this point of scale. It starts to be something that you can plan around, that you can start doing interesting analyses on. But it gets tied into all the other applications your enterprise is using, and it gets very hard to start isolating out which item is going to which cost center.
Mm-hmm.
And the problem is a lot of this is structural in the way that organizations are built. Well, I don't know how to fix company organizational structures with software, but I do know how to fix a lot of the understanding around their cloud estate with it.
So this sort of brings us to, like, we have a lot to build, but we also have something available now. Let's talk about what we have and what customers can use today.
Yeah, we started with the most expensive, pressing, urgent problem that we found when doing this as a consulting company. Specifically, we have contracts coming up for renewal in 8 months, in 6 months. Oh crap, 2 months ago in 1 or 2 notable cases. And maybe there's a way that we can apply some of this analytical rigor to that.
This has been something that we've been working on for 6 months, 8 months, 12 months now, taking everything we know about cloud contract negotiation, building it into software to make that whole process so much easier. And that's something we have a lot of customers using today. It's pretty great. So, if you're interested, come talk to us.
And a big part of that as well, people misunderstand what you mean when you say contract negotiation software. Oh, you mean you built an AI bot to pound the table and scream at Amazon for me? No, it's to figure out your internal structure, understand the questions to ask your other stakeholders, get all of you saying the same thing. There is a structure to it. There is a pattern. There is a dance. There's a way to formalize that into a process, and you come out better for it.
I mean, God, you think AWS bills are complicated? Wait until you see AWS contracts.
The best part is at the end of the contract negotiation, companies were structurally better off than they were when they started. It almost feels like, better organizational engineering through lawyers.
Yeah. If you folks are interested in seeing what we have, if you want to talk about Skyway or talk about our DuckBill services, which we're still continuing to do, give us a call. You can find us at duckbillhq.com.
Or call us at 833-AWS-BILL.
He's not joking.